This is Jonathan from Brilliance Bay doing APP registration walkthrough from our elevator out to our front door. This welcomes our guests. We also have some signage out here that just explains we're by appointment only. Typically our doorbell is right there, but it's charging at the moment. We also include some signage for hours of operation, so it's easy for people to get to us. Inside is where guests are immediately brought into. So we have a small shelf here that we keep a tiny bit of marketing materials as well as local tattoo shops that we've worked with or know. Here is the immediate. Walking in, we have a little bit of space here that we use for storage. I'm gonna go over that right now. Behind this door here is the refrigerator. We use this as like a little mini pantry for things like water for the guests, as well as some refreshments. Above there, there's a little storage that we keep our Christmas decorations, holiday decorations. It's also in Hong Kong where we tuck away things like air conditioning units, so they'll be up there. This unit is our employee-only hand washing station, where we keep our surgical scrub and things like this. Below here is just some cleaning supplies, things that you would expect. These are things like cutlery, etc. Yeah, cleaning stuff that we might use. Through here's a closet. This is like more of a utility closet, but also where we keep our jackets and things like that. There's some stuff in here like piercing pillows or larger objects we don't have any room for. These two closets we don't open during the day, but they are for office supplies and things like that, because there is no other rooms.
Or bills, papers, ambience things for operating the shop. Mostly
things like candles,
office things,
etc.
Yeah.
There would be nothing piercing related, but we'd use this for storage. Out here, this is the main lobby area where guests are brought into. So guests are asked to sit here. This is just the seating area. So there is a large seating area with some mirrors. Of course, we display some certifications. Those are things for bloodborne pathogen training and other things that are expected mostly in the US market. The ceilings here are quite low, they're not very high. Everything in Hong Kong is concrete, so when you're making your units or doing build-outs, you don't have a lot of options when it comes to changing these shapes. They're just the way they are. This is the front desk where guests do their transactions.
Yeah, we were lucky to find a unit that had an existing hand washing station, but unfortunately, due to the way that Hong Kong buildings are, everything being concrete, it was impossible for us to move the hand washing station into the piercing room.
Yes. And so in the front desk area, this is where guests usually will mingle and also choose jewelry. So we tend to put the brands that we work with most closely in the front, so guests will have a chance to see maybe the best jewelry brands that we offer, and also brands we've worked with for a long time. So we try to give them a taste of what the modern contemporary piercing industry offers. So there will be a pretty wide selection of Buddha, who we worked with for a long time. Some smaller brands like Modern Mood, as well as a large presence for BVLA, with who we work with. On this side, we have a number of displays that we've created for brands we've worked with. Neometal is pretty prominent in the studio, so we do work with a lot of their jewelry. And this is how we display them. Below them is a little bit of Qualitai, which is a British titanium maker, making a little bit more affordable jewelry for our guests. We do display some gold jewelry from groups like Buddha that we don't have enough room for in the case. And we try to organize this for guests so it's a little easy for them to see everything kind of pushed together. We carry a few other brands as well too, although they would have a little bit different presence for different things like Industrial Strength or Tawapa. But Industrial Strength is quite a bit of our naval jewelry in the shop. Also work with Qualitai. And for those groups, whenever we work with a brand prominently, we try to give them some case room as well as some shelving. We work with a few brands like Gorilla Glass or Glassware Studio for glass jewelry. And to introduce this to the people in Hong Kong. For aftercare, we work with NeilMed, so we do have them with a little bit of a more prominent shelf space. And then below here, these are more storage for typically jewelry displays is where we keep these groups in here that we don't have room for yet. There will be quite a bit of brands displays here made for just different modes that we're in with the different displays. We keep a pretty steady supply of sodium chloride here in Hong Kong because we can pick it up by a large bottle. It tends to be more affordable for our clients, so we teach them how to use this rather than just relying on the aftercare sprays made by the industry right now. If we swing over this way, this is where the counter space starts to take place. Although we have our sterilization out front for the client to see, so they're a little more familiar with the process. They can also see us work from this point as well.
We're a single-use shop. We don't reprocess tools, so we can have the sterilization out here and it's completely sterile. There's no reprocessing of any equipment. This is all only for cleaning jewelry and also cleaning stuff like Q-tips and gauzes.
Yeah. Down here we just keep supplies, distilled water, things like surgical autoclave bags, extra supplies of napkins, some sleds so we can reuse instead of just using those. And then we also have just little areas where we might keep clients' broken jewelries, returned jewelries, as well as unsterilized titanium jewelry that we can process before our client uses it. We might use these for quicker clients. Typically these are clients coming in for things that are from the titanium selections that we could quickly clean. There's a large number of these jewelry, so we keep them readily available. We include a little bit of certifications from some of the conferences that we've attended as well too. Behind here at the counter space is quite simple. We keep a lot of drawers. These drawers here in the front are just for bags.
Usually
empty old
for
bags.
handling old jewelry, if they come in with an old jewelry,
Cleaning rags.
cleaning stuff, extra
hair
hair
ties. These are just for marking sometimes with the clients.
Sometimes when we style, we like to draw a little mark on their ear just to let them know where certain jewelry is.
A little bit of titanium jewelry in here. We keep supplies of jewelry in these boxes, so we'll keep just different supplies based on how we use them. And so we'll have different displays of jewelry that we can quickly pick off if we're styling with a client, and also get jewelry cleaned for the client. All these drawers feature different brands and different jewelry and organized efforts. And so if we get to this one over here, it starts to get to more utilities for front counter staff and things that are not related to jewelry. And so these are all small. And then this is just our cash up front here. Cash features just some small bills to be able to interact with the client. It brings that in. This is our front desk area. And so typically we just display some aftercare products and try to give clients some understanding of how important they are, emphasizing those. And then now it's time to get to the piercing room. Piercing room go over here, behind this glass.
The piercing room doors we always keep closed, and I open them to let client inside, but we mostly keep them closed at all times. And then this is my room. We only have one piercer here, mostly just me working all the time actually. We have some storage here. So over on this side, starting with the first cabinet, this is my office supply cabinets, stuff where I keep my notepad, extra calculator, various office documents and stuff. And then down here is where my computer, also office things. This drawer here, also just my personal stuff, just like my medication. Sometimes I get blood sugar crash, so I need to have my medication next to me, just personal stuff. And then down here, this is just an extra cabinet for extra organization things, extra storage things, label maker. And this is my stationery drawer. Also, just to keep my stationery, I like to take notes sometimes in my room when I talk to a client about jewelry consultations and stuff. So I like to have my stationery and office, also some writing tools in my piercing room as well. And then this first drawer is where I make my prep packages. I like to make my own prep packages so I can control what I put inside the package depending on the piercing that I'm doing. So I will make the package as I'm doing that piercing too. And then down here, we have my extra supplies, my extra gloves. The below level down here is all gloves. I have sterile gloves and non-sterile gloves in 2 different materials depending on the people that I encounter, and also depending on the tactileness that I want. Sometimes certain gloves are more grippy, so depending on the type of jewelry I'm working with, I use certain gloves for that type of jewelry. And our extra gauzes and cleaning stuff. And up here, this is also my drawer for tools that I'll be using for the piercing. Some of them are already pre-sterilized, some stuff that is non-sterilized yet, so I will package it and sterile it as I go, depending on the piercing that I'm doing. So that's why I have it next to my prep package making station, so I can put everything together. And then this is also part of the prep package making station. Also various types of Q-tips, various types of size gauze, depending on the job that I'm doing. So I like to make the packages as I go. And then my marking tools. This is all of my single-use marking things. I also have some single-use markers down here, but I also love to use this type of marking implement because I find that it is more permanent and longer lasting than these types of single-use markers. And then all of my needles, I use 2 types of needles. I use blade needles and I also use catheter needles. Great thing about Hong Kong, we don't have regulations, so we can use whatever tool that I need depending on the situation. And then over here, these are my measuring implements. Different types of implements, also depending on the job. Some pre-sterilized cotton swabs for removing marks, for cleaning up marks that I don't need. And then this drawer over here, this is my face mask. I always wear a mask all the time. I sometimes even change a mask in between talking to clients. Some extra bags I use to store used old jewelry. If I'm updating a jewelry, sometimes I store the old backings, return it back to them. My dental bibs, and also some non-sterile cups that I use to organize on my dental tray. Also depending on the jobs, sometimes I like to organize everything so I know what goes back into what piercing. And then down here, this cabinet is my liquids, my cleaning supplies, my extra sharp spins. Sometimes I also like to use those little ink caps type drawers, also used to organize different types of jewelry, also depending on the job that I'm doing. And I also use single-use bed sheets and my garbage bags. Our shop is single-use, so we don't reprocess tools. Everything that we have that is already pre-packaged sterilized, we use right away. Things that are not pre-packaged sterilized, we sterilize it and use it, and we throw everything out. Anything that touches the client during the piercing process, they never get reused, they always get thrown out. So this is my sharp spin, my garbage bin with markings so people don't use it if they don't need to, and also like my cleaning supplies. And then we have our HEPA filter, also more cleaning supplies. And then I also have a hands-free paper towel dispenser. And then I also have another hands-free paper towel dispenser, 2 different types of paper towel texture depending on what I'm cleaning. And then I have this trolley over here that I keep pre-sterilized jewelry and also some tools, because we just came back from a tattoo convention. So we pre-sterilized a bunch of stuff, and we still have some left over that I'm going to be continuing to use. And then this water fountain here is for feng shui purposes, so that has to stay here because we got a master to come in, and they told us that we need a moving water in my room for good luck. And then we just have some extra storage up there also for the extra supplies that we just came back from the tattoo convention. And then, so this pretty much covers the piercing room, the waiting room, and the entrance area as we came into the shop. Now I think lastly we need to show the washroom.
I did.
I know, so that's why I was thinking of the flow. Okay, so now from my room, we're going to lead you guys to the washroom, which is private, but it is outside the shop. So in some Hong Kong buildings, if you're privileged, you do have a private washroom. Every level will have one if you're really lucky. So we got really lucky. Every level has our own private washroom. Over here, we keep it locked up. Yes, it's open. So we keep it locked up. We only open it when we come in to work. And you can go in there first. Yeah, we keep everything here nice and tidy. We have some pictures of old Hong Kong just to make this room a little bit more vibey, a little bit more Brilliance Bay. And then we have our soap, our paper towel dispenser, and then this cabinet over here is mostly just washroom necessities, extra toilet paper, extra soap, cleaning stuff, extra paper towels. And I think this pretty much covers it, I think. We can come back into our room, come back to the shop.
So I think this pretty much covers everything.